And we should be live. What is up, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTubes? Ubu, the tech guru, coming straight at ya. We got episode 11 of the Tech and Gaming podcast, the Linux Tech and Gaming podcast. So I'm excited to be back. This week we do have a full cast. We got Osiris and the Atomic Ass. Guys, go ahead and say hi.
What's up?
Hello.
Man, a few words.
Right. All right. So for today's show, we have we got a ton of topics. Osiris has been really busy collecting, gathering, a bunch of topics for us to discuss during the show today. Let me make sure I got the show open here so I can monitor chat for all the folks that will be watching, and and we can chat with you in the chatters. All right, so I guess right away we'll get this out of the way. Why do I look so different? Well, I got rid of my mustache and goatee. I shaved it off for Movember, which started 5 days ago, November 1st, and it's basically you use the power of the stash or the changing of your facial hair as a conversation starter to talk about men's health, to raise awareness for testicular cancer, prostate cancer, the big bad ones for men's health. So I do this, this is my second year doing Movember, and last year I actually, had a whole campaign on my YouTube channel, and I gathered a bunch of other YouTubers and got everybody together to take a snapshot of their facial hair once a day throughout all 30 days of November, or 31, however many days are in November. And then, at the end of in December, I created a time-lapse video of each person's stash growing. And the person who the audience voted on for the best stash growing actually won Squid Grips. So Squid Grips actually provided me product to give away for the winners. I didn't end up doing that again this year, but I still did, shave off for Movember, and I've had already plenty of people ask me, like, oh, what happened to your mustache and goatee? And that's the point of Movember. It creates the setting to basically talk about men's health and men's health-related issues. So I did create a team on Movember's website. It is Ubu for Men's Health is the actual Movember team. If you're interested in joining my team or donating towards my team, that would be awesome. Another big YouTuber that does a lot with Movember is Barnacles. He does. He's already raised like $1,200 for Movember. They raise millions every year. The whole organization. So it's a great organization. It's a great cause, raising awareness for men's health. I just wanted to get that out of the way, since I'm sure some of you in the comments will look at me and be like, wow, Ubu looks really different. He looks like a baby's ass. And actually, no, it's already been 5 days, and I'm already getting the, obviously the stubble, and the stash is already coming back in. The power of the stash, mustache.
You only have stubble after 5 days?
Apparently, I guess. I don't know. I mean,
Got that baby face.
I got a light
like,
beard after 5 days.
Yeah, I mean, compared to a lot of my friends, I grow facial hair way faster than any of them, so you must be like 4 times more than me. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. Movember, support the cause. If you've had any male family members, pass away from cancer or be affected by cancer, whether it be testicular, prostate, whatever the case may be, it's definitely something to, get everybody's awareness raised for it, and get some, if you can't donate any money, that's fine. At least try to raise awareness of other people about the issues. Point them to the Movember website, whatever, and they can learn more information through that. So basically, getting into our first segment, we usually have Atomic go over a Linux game that he has played to let us know, basically, is the game a go? Is it stay away from it? What are the pitfalls? Does it work in Linux? Doesn't it not? So, Atomic asks, what game do we got this week?
The game we have this week is Steam Crashed. And that's about it.
I don't know if that's a joke or what.
It's kind of the truth.
Steam crashed.
Steam is still doing this stupid shit. So,
Meaning it doesn't start?
meaning right now it's a hung defunct process, and I've got to reboot after the show.
Ew.
Okay, but I mean, didn't you have a game prepared you were going to talk about?
Nope.
All right.
Usually while you're rolling out that line, I'm looking through my library like, which game am I going to pick? Which game am I going to pick?
Okay. All right. Well, Osiris, why don't you take over this segment for Atomic and maybe talk a little bit about the game that you were just telling me about that's free to play yesterday. We'll let our Linux viewers know about that one. How about that?
Sweet, yeah, let's do it. Double Action. It's called Double Action, and I believe they have code names for like different versions. So this one is called Double Action Boogaloo. I don't know why it's called Boogaloo, but whatever. That's what it's called. And basically, what it is a Matrix. Oh no, not even Matrix. Max Payne. If you played Max Payne, you'll be familiar with the style of game. This is the style of action that this has. You do dives, jumps, jump off wall, Matrix style tricks, and bullet times type stuff. But the thing that makes this game different is the more, I guess, tricks that you do, and while you're killing your opponents, the more points you make. So you actually get points off of not killing them, but off of killing them in style. You get style killing.
Oh, nice. All right.
So yeah, it's not the greatest game. It's not the best game graphically, but it is different, and it tries to be its own thing, and not just the regular old FPS, but with different skins. So I played about an hour or so of it, and it's okay. It's definitely a good way to pass a little bit of time. But it is free to play. That's also the keynote of this whole game, that it is free to play, and the source code is openly available to anybody who wants it. All you have to do is agree to their terms of service on GitHub, and you can have the source code. But it is not open source.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't.
So how does that work? Yeah. So you can get the source code, but you have to what? You have to sign up for something?
No, you just have to agree to their terms of service about what you're going to do with the source code. That's the reason it's not open source, because for it to be open source, open source has its own standard of rules.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
And it doesn't quite fit in to open source rules.
Gotcha. All right. So Double Action. I have not actually got a chance to try that out yet. I've been busy switching over from Ubuntu to Arch. I've just been busy freaking configuring KDE and my Arch system, and that has been a full task in it of itself. Like, massive, massive task.
It was so massive, it needed its own word, configurating.
Yeah, exactly. All right, what's up? We got Gosten Farmer in the chat, and we got Lonely Invaders, who says he's getting rid of his two 770s and getting a R9 290. That is interesting. I don't know if he must not be a Linux user if he's going from 770 to 290s.
No, you know who this is. This is King Cry, or I can't remember his name on Twitch.
Okay.
He's a friend of the show. We'll call it that.
Right. Yeah, I understand. So he's a Windows user then.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Well, welcome to the show, guys. Thanks for dropping in. So anyway, yeah, to reiterate what Osiris said, Double Action, it's free to play. It is available on Linux. So I guess we'll jump into the next topic, or our first topic, I guess, since that was kind of the Linux Game of the Week. Osiris filled in for Atomic's segment there, since Atomic's Steam is not cooperating. we have October Steam hardware survey results, and most of these topics were gathered by Osiris, so he's going to be like the man of the show for today's show. So go ahead, Osiris, tell us about the October Steam hardware survey results.
All right, so Steam obviously gathers information, data via survey. It's I guess sort of random. Nobody really knows how they get this stuff and how they pick the candidates that they do pick, but they do. I'm sure of a certain percentage of sample size, and in that survey they have the OS version, like your system specs and your network speed, and if you're using a microphone or not, and you know that basic type of stuff. But nobody cares about that. What we're going to need to talk about is the Linux. Linux has been steadily growing since Steam has come out for Linux. Very, very small, albeit like 0.01% per month, 0.02% per month, somewhere in that range. But it has been growing because I believe since last year at the same time, it is up by, if I remember correctly, 0.10%. So yeah, not massive changes, but we're still talking about out of 100 million users. If there is 100 million users, 1% is a million of them, and that's a good thing for indie developers and AAA titles who are looking to capitalize at the most as most as they can. But you can also go, if you check this, there's a little thing at the top where you can change it to Linux only, and you can actually get statistics for Linux only, and it'll actually tell you how many people are using certain versions of Linux. Ubuntu, Linux Mint. I don't know why it says Linux 3.10. Is that an operating system?
There's a distro out there called Linux 3.10. Is that like a copycat of Windows 3.1? But Linux 3.1?
I don't know, but apparently 7.5% of those people are using it.
Yeah, right.
And then there's other, and surprisingly, 35% of all Linux users make up other. So I'm assuming that's probably Fedora, SUSE, Arch, stuff like that, because they really only focus on Ubuntu derivatives, it would seem like, since that's the only thing I should probably really support it.
Yeah, I see the Linux version listed is 40% of users are using Ubuntu 14.04.1 LTS 64-bit.
Yeah.
Now, is that 40%? That's 40% of all Linux users, right? Not 40% of all Steam users.
40% of people on Steam, because this is only gathered through Steam. No. Okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, 40% of Linux users on Steam.
Okay, gotcha.
Right.
There's no way that 40% of all Steam users use Linux. There's no way. It's because we already know that percentage is only like 1%.
Right.
Okay, so I'm looking at, yeah, gotcha. And it says, interesting, it actually shows, I don't know, I'm looking at like something specific that says Linux only, and it has like the amount of VRAM, like the primary display resolution, multi-monitor desktop resolution, physical RAM, physical CPUs, and it's interesting to see that still the majority of people are using only dual-core CPUs.
I would go ahead. No, go ahead.
All of these statistics are actually telling me something. Most of the Linux users seem to be on laptops.
Yes.
Older laptops. And
there's kind of like not a myth, but a thing that Linux users make the most out of older hardware, and typically and in general. So
yeah, I would agree with that. Right.
I think this proves the fact that in general that they're using older hardware. That's for sure.
Right. I don't know how they gather the video card description, but it says the one listed here says HD Graphics 4000 by Intel, so it doesn't even list a discrete graphics card.
It does.
I must be looking at a list of the most highest percentage for each of these categories? I must.
Yeah. No, click.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to click on it,
Okay, gotcha.
and then you'll see everybody.
Okay, now this makes sense. Gotcha. Yep.
But
Yeah.
the top 4 in the list are HD 4000, 3000,
Right.
4600, 4400.
Right, and then finally a GTX 660. Yeah. Oh, the 760's up there. It's like number 8 or 7.
It's not a lonely. Well, and in reference to the comment that Lonely Invader said, Windows because gaming, it's not because of that. It's because like a year ago there was no games, so like you didn't need a GTX 780 in your computer if you're running Linux. There'd be absolutely no point. And it took Windows. I mean, it takes years to adapt a crowd of people. Even like let's just say it stays at under 2% for the next 10 years. Even those 2%, there needs to be an adoption rate, because those people they didn't just go out and buy a GTX 760 just because Steam came to Linux. Nobody.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense. So what a lot of them are doing is that they're trying out Steam slowly but surely. They're getting the little indie games like Braid or Fez or whatever, and they're playing it on their laptops like Atomic was pointing out. It's probably what they're doing. Just picking up stuff and trying it, because most Linux users, since there was no games, weren't playing any games.
Right? Yeah.
They were doing development stuff, using it just as a regular desktop, that kind of thing. A lot of 3D work gets done on Linux professionally and corporately. So that's what they're used for.
That's interesting that Steam can't collect the distro information for anything besides Mint and Ubuntu.
I don't think that it
It
can.
puts them under other, like you said.
I don't think that it can't. I just think that there's so many others. It just not. They don't.
Oh, the list would be forever. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I demand Arch be added to the list.
I know. I'm with Atomic now that I run Arch. I want to raise that flag loud and proud, baby.
I can pretty much guarantee you that Arch will make up a good percentage of that, and then Fedora or SUSE, which one of the Red Hat derivatives you wanna
Sure.
pull from.
Yeah. Well,
Dude,
just so you
where's
guys
your-
are aware, I am sharing my screen showing our viewers what we were looking at, just so they can kind of see. But Steam usually does a hardware and software survey once a month. Is that true?
Yes, once a month.
Okay. Yeah. And I think it's kind of a draw in the hat of whether or not you're selected to provide your hardware or not, right? Like one day you'll open Steam and it might say, "Do you want to participate in this survey?" And you have to click yes or no, right?
Right. That's
Because that happened to me one month. Yeah, I think it was last month it happened to me, or even September.
a lot of times I'm usually on a mission to do something, and I just
Yeah.
click through it.
Right. You just click no right away. Yeah.
Yeah.
McDonald, my thoughts on Kubuntu are this. KDE is pretty much the same on any distribution, and Ubuntu, base Ubuntu without a GUI, just has its own little idiosyncrasies that follow through all of the different branches of Ubuntu.
Yeah.
So,
One thing I would point out about KDE on different desktops is the thing I've noticed the most is how they integrate their update and package managers. Some of them are a real pain in the butt. Some of them kind of work. Then, like Kubuntu, I noticed is using Muon, which is the KDE package manager, it works. It probably works better than the Software Center for Ubuntu, but I wouldn't call it good. I would like to see better package managers and update managers, personally. But otherwise, yeah, the KDE is the same. It just depends on if you want to configure it or you want to configure it out the box. I hear that, is it OpenSUSE? OpenSUSE has the best out-of-the-box KDE experience. That's what I hear.
Yeah, I can't comment, McDonald. I can't comment on Kubuntu. I don't believe I've ever used Kubuntu, and I just started recently using KDE on Arch, and I really like KDE so far. I used to never touch it because the hardware I used to have was so ancient, so I'd have to run, XFCE. So I've been running Xubuntu for almost probably the last 5 years. That's how long I've been using. I've been using Ubuntu 9 years, but I think I started off with regular Ubuntu, and then they came out with the Xubuntu and Kubuntu, derivatives, which use, obviously XFCE and KDE on top of, Ubuntu. But since I switched to Arch, or, I'm dual booting. I still have my Ubuntu installation. I'm not leaving Ubuntu. I'm just trying out other distros. Since I've been using Ubuntu for 9 years, Linux in general for 9 years, I thought I owe it to myself to try something besides Ubuntu. I mean, I've become so familiar with working in the terminal, on Ubuntu or Debian-based distros that it's just second nature to me to, fix issues and stuff. And now coming into Arch, I've, pretty much had to learn from scratch because their package management is slightly different. They don't have personal packages, which are PPAs. They don't have those. They have the AUR, which is the Arch user repository. And I mean, Arch is a totally different experience than Debian-based distro, I would say. And I mean, I'm glad I'm trying out Arch. I permanently installed it on another SSD that I have, a little 32 gig SSD, and I'm enjoying the experience. So I would say, since I'm familiar, or since I'm kind of using KDE right now, or I am using KDE right now, not specifically Kubuntu, but I would say, yeah, if you're interested in going with KDE, and you want something that's just works, I would say go with Kubuntu. Yeah, definitely.
I'm also, as far as the survey goes, also I was looking through it, and it would seem like the majority of the people who got surveyed, at least, are actually using, I guess you can call it gaming, newer gaming quality video cards. If you look at the percentages of people using 650 Ti's and up, that makes up a good bulk of graphics cards being used. And then it kind of swings up even higher though from Intel graphics. So people did go out and buy some graphics cards once Steam came out. Apparently, unless they were dual booting. Now that's another thing. A lot of Linux users, native or primarily Linux users, and I would assume Windows users, according to GamingOnLinux.com, they had their own survey. A good majority of, not a majority, but a good percentage of them, probably about 40-something% dual boot.
Yeah, I mean, I still dual boot, just because there's still games on Windows that don't necessarily run decently in Wine. So I think if you're a gamer and you're really into Linux, I think you're kind of just like shooting yourself in the foot by not having Windows partition in your computer, because currently there is still plenty of games that are not available to play within Linux, whether it's on an emulator like Wine or whether it's not. If you want the game, you need to run it on Windows, unfortunately. But so
here's an interesting stat. Now, I would agree that if you're only a Linux gamer and you don't buy no other games except for Linux games, you probably don't need nothing over a 760. But I was looking through the other settings, and almost 50% of the people on Linux have hyperthreading. At least that got statted or surveyed. That's a lot of people. That still furthers the idea to me that a lot of these people just had just very good PCs and just slapped a graphics card into them already. Because I think hybrid threading is only an i7 feature. It has always only been an i7 or a Xeon feature.
No, it's actually, I had an i3, a mobile i3 with hyperthreading. The mobile i5s always have hyperthreading.
Oh, really?
The desktop i5s have 4 physical cores. And the i7s, whether they're mobile or desktop, always have hyperthreading.
Okay.
That's just Intel's
So that might just mean what you're saying, and this we're still might be talking about laptops.
Very likely. If you look at the Intel CPU speeds, it's 2.3 to 2.69 gigahertz is the top one there.
Right. Yeah. So that's
And
probably mobile.
more than likely, especially if the video card is HD 4000. Yeah, that's about in line.
Huh.
I'm surprised at the primary display resolution, though. It's 1080p. I was expecting
A lower one, yeah. Like a laptop
1366
resolution.
by 768.
Right.
Maybe that's probably it might be because they're plugging into the auxiliary monitor.
Oh, there. The second highest is 1366 by 768.
Yeah, I would assume they're plugging in the auxiliary monitors, and when it stats
Right.
system, it pulls what you're actually using right now. But who knows? There's like the reason nobody takes these monthly surveys too seriously is because nobody knows how they're getting the sample pool, how many people they're actually sampling. There's no scientific information behind this. It's just a, hey, look, we can go look at stats type of deal. So.
Why? I don't understand what's the hesitation from Valve in sharing how they get the data. I don't understand that.
Because to me, they probably don't care what you think. They probably use it for internal purposes, but they post it publicly. I think just to do it. I think it's just something they've been doing for a long time, and they're just sharing information. But they don't care to go into detail about it. I don't know a real reason. That's just my guess.
I mean, help me understand your comment that people don't really take this seriously. Like, what? I don't understand that. What do you mean?
They don't take the statistics seriously.
And
Right.
I don't get why not.
Well,
are you
Because
saying
there's no scientific data behind it?
lying, or I mean, I don't get it.
There's no scientific data behind it. Well, if you're gonna take statistics seriously, it needs to be scientifically validated, and you can't do that without no back end information. We don't know where they're getting the people from, how many people they're getting, how does it actually pull the sample pool, like who is it actually polling? Are more of them in France, or more of them in Europe, or more of them in the United States? We don't know any of that.
Huh. Okay, I get. All right.
So
maybe I'm not. I don't really care, but I suppose.
I mean, if this was,
that's, a
gonna
physical person, that it would matter how they're collecting the data.
yeah, it definitely matters if you're gonna do it mathematically, because you can't validate information without knowing how you got there. You know what I mean? You can't do math without knowing how the problem was solved.
Well, it just says participation in the survey is optional and anonymous.
Exactly. That says nothing. So this I would take all this data with a grain of salt. They might have sampled only the people in Kentucky for all we know. I mean, that's highly unlikely, but you know what I'm saying.
I suppose I see what you're saying. I don't know.
Right.
Now this is painful to look at.
What?
33.6 and 56K are still in the network speed list.
What? 56K?
56K.
I haven't used that in like 20 years.
30%?
No,
No.
33.6K. You know, the slower speed than 56.
Like was that 128 baud modems?
Holy shit.
Yeah, I don't think something wrong with that.
Wait, 33.6 kilobits a second. You're saying 0.3% use that.
That's what
Yeah.
it says, but
How the fuck? Yeah, apparently this is like a third world country.
even downloading Steam would take months just to,
Right, just to get it installed.
well, like I know a guy who's in Afghanistan, and he's on a very slow connection. He says it takes like 3 days to download a regular Steam game.
Oh my gosh.
But you know that's because he's there on contract work with the service.
Right,
So,
and it's probably using a satellite. He
Yes.
doesn't have no hardwire. Yeah, exactly. Wow. That's funny. All right, well, I think we've covered this topic pretty well here. let's move on to the next topic that we have, and I'm going to jump around a little bit. We'll go to Microsoft partners with OpenBox. Excuse me. Microsoft partners with Dropbox, and again, this topic was found by Osiris. Even though I heard about this as well through I saw it on Twitter. I haven't fully looked into it, but Osiris, why don't you go ahead and tell us what's up here?
Yeah, so Microsoft, in conjunction with Dropbox, made a business deal, and let me see. There's no info about if there was actually money that traded hands or any of that. Like, there's no detailed information on how this deal came about, and exactly what went on in the deal, which is sort of important so that we know. Well, we can assume that Microsoft courted Dropbox, and they're obviously the dominant partner. And why that's important is because they probably have more say in what's going on, and they're probably controlling this whole deal. But the reason they did it was so that they could have better integration with Office. Now, Microsoft has their own Live Drive and all that other stuff, but let's just be honest, nobody uses that. Very few people use that in comparison to Google Drive and Dropbox. And it's a pretty wide margin, actually, too. So with them doing this, they save some money also by not having to try to grow Live Drive anymore, and Dropbox gains because now they have Office integration, which means that you can actually open up Office documents on Dropbox, just like you can do with Google Drive documents, Google Docs, and Google Drive. You can actually also open up other documents that are in your Dropbox from within, like an Office document. So it's basically the same thing as what Google Drive and Google Docs does, but it's with Office and Dropbox.
Yeah, that is interesting. I was just going to ask about that. It's like Microsoft's creating its own competition. They have OneDrive, which replaced I think it used to be called SkyDrive.
Yeah.
You and I were actually talking about this the other night because I actually have 100 gig of free OneDrive storage that I got free somehow. Like Barnacules tweeted out one day that Microsoft was handing out free OneDrive space, so I signed up and I got the free 15 gig like automatically when you create the account, and then I got another 100 gig of bonus storage space that I'm debating about whether or not to use because I don't know what'll happen after that, after it expires. Which I've had it actually since February of this year. So my 100 gig of extra bonus storage expires February of 2015. So I have 4 months to use 100 gig of online storage if I really want to, which is kind of cool. Like if I needed to transfer 50 gig, from any of my local computers, and I didn't have an extra space locally to store it, I could just slap it up into OneDrive. Boom. It would probably take a while, but no, maybe not. I have 5 meg upload.
When you accepted the agreement for that OneDrive, did they make you sign in blood?
Yeah, right?
Well,
I really don't remember.
If you're an Office 365 customer, you get unlimited storage.
Oh, shit, really? That is pretty cool. I guess that's kind of neat.
Yeah. I'd rather not pay them, but yeah, whatever.
Well, it's neat if you're an Office 365 user. Yeah, exactly.
This is not really for general consumers. You could take advantage of this, but this is definitely targeted towards corporate America and the people who use those type of services. And the most important part also is that this works with mobile, and that's why it's such a large market for Microsoft, because people who use mobile tend to use services like Dropbox to get files moved around, and like Microsoft's mind share and market share of Live Drive or whatever they're calling their online storage is not that great, even though it's built into Windows 8 and Windows 10 and the Windows phones. People are still not using it. I don't know why they're not using it. I don't use it either. I've used it before. It's okay. It's not great. I prefer Google Drive.
Yeah, I mean, I personally prefer Dropbox just because it has a Linux client, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's obviously preferential to what you want to use. Sound out in the comments, guys. What cloud storage do you use, if any?
We can also note that a Ubuntu's personal cloud service called Ubuntu One went offline a few months ago, so they failed. And it's also notes in this article that even Dropbox is not doing as great as you would think they would be doing, since they're not pretty much the reigning king of online cloud storage for personal use. So maybe online cloud storage just isn't a thing for people yet. Who knows?
That could be.
I mean, I don't put too much stuff on. Matter of fact, the main reason I use online cloud storage is to basically get a big file to somebody else that I can't email.
Sure, yeah. I use Dropbox for collaboration with other people. Like I have a graphics designer that I usually go to do, some of my more complex graphics requirements that I don't want to do myself, or I don't have time to do myself. So, we already have a folder set up in Dropbox that he has access to, so he just I put what, my ideas, whatever, like in a text file or a crappy markup or something, I put that in the folder, and then he automatically gets it synced to his computer. He can see it, create what I want, and then put the final image in the Dropbox, and then boom, it's synchronized back to my computer. So it's a great, online storage is a great tool for collaborating with others. I mean, we personally here on the show, we use Google Drive for our podcast notes, so that we can all be on the same page with what we're going to talk about in the show, and we can all edit the document at the same time if we need to. So Google, cloud storage is, I think, a phenomenal thing that's come along, and Microsoft clearly was feeling inferior with their OneDrive, as far as the market share. So they're like, oh, well, let's just partner with. I'm surprised they just didn't flat out buy Dropbox, to be honest.
Because I don't think that's advantageous to them either. There's other problems that come with just. For one, if they just buy up companies again like they used to do, they automatically gain the attention of the government and other people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's that. And then they have to actually maintain this company once they get it and the technology, which they may or may not want to do. Who knows?
Yeah. I just realized I don't even have the Dropbox client installed on Arch yet. I wonder if it's in the regular repositories.
So Lonely Invader says he's had a survey every year so far.
Holy shit!
I've had several in a year, and Vin says he's had it since before public beta, Linux obviously, and he's only received 2. So who knows how they're pulling this poll? That's why I don't take this poll or this survey seriously, because there's no way you can without better information.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because if you did, I would actually even break it down into more specific categories. Dedicated or hardcore gamers, or people who spend X amount of hours per week gaming. Casual gamers, or people who spend X amount of hours per week. And then people who just kind of hop on and hop off. And then, like, which graphics cards people are using would make much more sense under that scenario. Because if you only log into Steam like once every 3 months and you just happen to get the survey and you got like a graphics card from 2006, that information means exactly nothing to me.
Right, I guess I see your point. Yeah, that's true.
But yeah,
hey, Atomic, do you use the Dropbox client in Arch?
I don't use Dropbox.
Okay, gotcha. I forget, you're one of those people that probably don't believe in cloud storage, hey? Anything corporate America?
need the power.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got Crash Plan.
Oh, do you?
I don't use like front-end cloud storage. I don't really have a need to work it into my usage.
Gotcha.
That's
Well,
kind of where I'm at too. I'll use it if it's necessary. It's usually just because I need to like give you somebody else something, and otherwise I don't really care.
right. Yeah, and actually, for some reason, the Dropbox package in the Arch repositories, it keeps giving me that the tarball is corrupt, and it's got an invalid PGP signature. It's a corrupted package, so it's asking me if I want to delete it.
That's because
So
the
I'll
NSA
have to
been
look into
tampering
that
with it.
later. What?
That's because the NSA's been tampering with it.
Yeah,
They
right.
can't even sign a package right. I'm trying to be sneaky.
Yep. So actually, how much storage do you have on Dropbox, Osiris? Have you gotten anybody to join and gotten extra storage space?
I don't know. I can look real quick though. I don't like. Yeah, I never log. The reason I even signed up for Dropbox is for music reasons. When I was working with people who were doing music, it was an easy way to.
Transfer files, yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
I think they give you 5 gig for free, I believe, and I have a total of 8.8 gig free from Dropbox because I've gotten quite a few people to use the service as well. And when you recruit someone, they used to give you like 500 megabits for free extra, or maybe even a gig. I don't remember how much they give you for recruiting someone.
I only have 3 gigs, so apparently I didn't get a lot.
They must have changed how much you get for free, because in the beginning, when you first would sign up for Dropbox, when the service first came out, I'm pretty sure they gave you 5 for free. Like, it's amazing because Google Drive gives you how much for free? 10 or 15?
10, 15, yeah, something.
15, yeah, that's crazy. And then OneDrive also gives you, like I said, 15 for free. And somehow, like I said, I got 100 extra gig for free from OneDrive, but that's only good till next February. Anyway, all right, so covering that topic, it's an interesting partnership with Microsoft and Dropbox. I mean, like Osiris says, it's really only for corporate America or people that use Office 365. I suppose it might create for easier workflows for people that need to collaborate with, through Dropbox.
Personally, I think they're trying to hop on the whole iPhone train, the iPhone and corporate America thing. But that's my opinion. It would make sense too because iPhones are super popular in the business world.
Yeah.
Androids are not so because I think Androids are harder to lock down for the IT department.
Right. Yeah, I mean, didn't it used to be corporate America used to be the CrackBerry users, weren't they?
Yeah, I used to have one of those for my work, and I had a love-hate relationship with that thing. We'll just call it that. It actually took Apple a long time to get, like, people wanted it, and they really asked for it, and begged and cried and moaned and complained for Apple to actually support Active Directory and all that stuff. So it took them a while to actually get that implemented, but once it did, it was bye-bye BlackBerry. It was a swift kick to the nuts.
Yep. All right. Well, that covers that topic.
Well,
what, Atomic?
My closing comment is you can expect the Linux Dropbox client to just peter out.
You think?
Microsoft
Yeah, that's
buying it.
possible.
Yeah, just like
Yeah.
Skype.
Yeah, like Skype hasn't been updated in like 22 years.
Was it that recently?
Let's fucking hope not. Jesus.
Right. And Google Drive, Google, like, they've staked their whole claim in life on open source, and they still won't give us a effing client. Just something, come on. Throw us a bone. At least give us the API that actually works right so we can do it ourselves instead of fudging it over or whatever the hell's going on.
I thought the Google Drive API was documented. That's why
It
that
is, but
guy came up with G-Sync.
there's lots of clients and things for Linux, but it seems like every so often they either change it or deprecate it or something happens and it completely breaks everything. And then they're like, you know what? Well, we'll get around to fixing that sometime in Google time. The only thing worse than Valve time is Google time, because their shit, their stuff would be beta for like 10 years, and they beta test things for like a decade. So who knows how long they're alpha testing them?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think Gmail was beta tested for like I don't know. I'm pulling this out of my butt, but like 4 or 5 years. It was something ridiculous. Because I remember you had to have a friend invite you to Google Mail back in the day.
Oh, really? I don't remember those days. Shit.
Yeah.
I remember being a Hotmail, person or MSN mail or whatever, and this whole thing, Gmail came out or Google Mail, whatever, and I went and needed a new email account because I was sick of getting all this spam at my other, email that I've given out to everybody in the world. And so I was like, oh, I'll just create a Gmail account. It's free, And then all of a sudden, boom, fucking Gmail just like took off.
Yeah, pretty much what happened.
So I'm looking at this G-Sync, which is a recursive tool to sync files into your Google Drive. And it says it works for large files. If you need to, stop and then resume later, it does work. So that's kind of cool. So those of you that are Linux users that are interested in, having a synchronization with Google Drive, look into G-Sync. It's a Java. It says it's a Java tool that you can use to save your files to Google Drive. So it'll pretty much synchronize a folder, that you set with your Google Drive folder. It's pretty much similar to how, Dropbox's client works. You just tell it what folder you want to sync with Dropbox, and boom, it just mirrors it. But I think Ven, had mentioned that he tried out Google or G-Sync, and I thought Osiris, you said you tried it a while ago and had some issues with it or whatever.
Anything that hooks into anything, whether it be the mail, the calendar, whatever, like it might work and it might not work. So I have just accepted the fact that I'll just use the web client because, yeah, whatever. But there is one good thing I found lately, and it's called Gmail Notifier, which is a add-on to Chrome and Firefox, and you can actually have the browsers closed, and it will still notify you of email on your desktop. So
that is cool.
Yeah, so that's one thing. But
I use a Twitter notifier on my Chrome, so that if I'm sitting here working away, and I'm not necessarily paying attention to Twitter, if I get mentioned, I get a little dialog box that pops up in the lower right corner of my screen that says the tweet or the direct message if I'm mentioned. You can actually enable it to tell you every time a tweet is made, and it's like, no, why would I want that? Just only show me the ones that I'm mentioned in, or if I get a direct message.
I guess I'll write a script tomorrow to start spamming you with tweets.
Yeah, right.
Just gonna tweet you every 5 seconds.
Shit, right. All right, so that covers that topic. Microsoft partnering with Dropbox. Moving along, we got our next topic of being NVIDIA's 343.22 driver performs better on Linux than on Windows. Now, this was found again by it was found by Osiris, so he would like to talk about the topic. So go ahead, Osiris.
Let me give 2 grains of salt before we speak about this. First, it's Phoronix, and sometimes I have some questions about their benchmarking methods. When you're doing anything that's numerical or statistical, you got to do it in a scientific way, or it's not legit. Period. And second of all his benchmarks, except for one, are synthetic, and the one that is not synthetic, that is an actual game benchmark, is Xenotic. Who on this planet is playing Xenotic?
I don't know.
Nobody. Like when I want to know about the performance of a graphics card, I want to know. Like,
you don't go and check the Xonotic, benchmarks.
Yeah, like
however
that.
you pronounce that game, yeah. I know what you're getting at. So this is just he compared. Looks like he compared some of the popular Unigine, synthetic benchmarks like Tropics, Heaven. He compared Valley, obviously, as well. And and this is obviously OpenGL, everybody. Since Linux doesn't have DirectX, this is obviously OpenGL, rendering. And then he's got, like you said, Xonotic as well, or however you pronounce it. So in his tests of these, specific synthetic benchmarks, he sees that the OpenGL version or these particular graphics cards is better in Linux than it is on Windows. That's what the article says, right?
Yeah. So basically, through most of these benchmarks, it turns out that the new drivers perform a bit better on Linux than they do on Windows. I mean, we're not talking large margins here, anyways. We're talking like tiny bits here and there. But when you're talking about whether this is an actual platform that people can use, these numbers do matter because people make serious purchasing decisions based on these types of numbers, and their gaming habits are based on these type of numbers, and et cetera, et cetera. Don't ask why. I don't think benchmarks are all that useful for the average person. But anyways, yeah. So it looks like that it repeatedly beats Linux in more times than not. Sometimes by a lot, sometimes by almost nothing. And this is using Ubuntu 14.10 with said drivers and Windows 8.1 Pro with said drivers. So take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, I mean, someone, thank you, Ven linked me to a Reddit post under the subreddit Linux Gaming, and there's a person that pointed out a day ago that the 9 out of 10 of the Phoronix benchmarks cover old OpenGL 2.0 games that no one's playing anymore.
Exactly.
Compares cheap cards to expensive beasts and calls it a fair benchmark.
Right.
Compares OpenGL performance under Linux to OpenGL performance under Windows, where pretty much no one except ID Software is using it, instead of comparing to DirectX equivalent.
Well, on that note, the OpenGL versus DirectX, I think you have to compare it to OpenGL, or it's
to
not
OpenGL.
But
right.
For the general consumer, it's good to compare it to DirectX. That way, they understand. Like a game like Euro Truck Simulator, we'll say, it'll play OpenGL or DirectX on Windows, but they don't understand that. But they do understand if they try it under Linux, that it's going to be using a different API, and the first thing they're going to ask is it better or is it worse?
Right. They don't care about OpenGL versus DirectX. No, they don't even know that probably. Yeah. The general consumer is just like, is the frame rate better or is it worse? That's all that they care about.
Right. And also do I get my eye candies? Because when you say you have a $200 or $300 video card, you're gonna want those eye candies, and you don't want no excuses. You don't want to hear OpenGL doesn't do that. I mean, I'm pretty sure OpenGL is pretty much equal to DirectX for the most part, but yeah, you don't want to hear that. Right. But I agree with that Reddit post. Nobody plays these games that he benchmarks, and the ones that he does benchmark, like Counter-Strike, Go, and Team Fortress 2, that are pretty relevant. I have found that if I do my own test, or at comparison to his Phoronix automated test, I don't get the same results. So like I said, take it for what it's worth. That's why I had to preface this whole topic with you need to understand this information with a grain of salt. I don't know if this is true or not true. I haven't tried it myself, but that's what he says.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, the point, is that there is a whole Pharonics test suite, or Pharonics, however you pronounce it, Pharonics. There's a whole test suite that he came up with that is multi-platform. So you can install the same test suite in Mac, in Windows, or on Linux, and run the same exact benchmarks down to the same exact configuration on all three operating systems, so that like you said, the thing that's important about statistics or comparing things is that the variables of the equation are the same in each instance.
The problem with his automatic test suite is I believe it sets environment variables and some other things that you normally wouldn't even do. And then, like, when I benchmark stuff on my own, I set it to what people care about, which is maxed out everything and normal sane configurations on your desktop. I've seen stuff in his Pharonics test suite that was alarming. Don't ask me what they were, because I can't think of it off the top of my head. I have to go look. But I was like, that nobody does it. Nobody uses this type of stuff. So why does this even matter?
Yeah. I mean, also to point out too, the Pharonics test suite has way more in it than just graphical benchmarks or synthetic benchmarks for graphics or graphics drivers. It's got benchmarks in there for writing to hard drives, hard drive I/O. It's got CPU, benchmarks. So I mean, I don't know. I know that you don't fully totally trust the Pharonics test suite because you found different results.
I give him his credit on building the Pharonics test suite, coding it, whatever he did with it. I just don't think he is a proper graphics card benchmarker.
Okay.
I don't know his history. I don't know where he came from, like what his credentials are, none of that. So maybe he's like a graphics card rocket scientist, and I'm just a dummy. But from what I'm saying, I have to question his graphics cards benchmarks. Now his other stuff, the hard drives benchmarks and the CPU ones and all that stuff. I mean, those might be perfectly legitimate. I don't know. I haven't paid much attention to them. And yes, he did build a pretty comprehensive test suite that is really unrivaled on any platform, Windows, Mac, Linux, anything, anywhere, as an all-inclusive test suite. So yeah, he definitely gets credit for that. But only thing I care about is graphics cards, and I question these results. That's it.
Right. I gotcha. That makes sense. All right. So moving on to our next topic. Again, we have. Actually, I can talk about this one. It's Twitch updates its terms of service. And this is, I actually saw this one on Twitter, and they had to actually update their terms of service to say, hey, if you're going to stream, you need to do it with a damn shirt on. So apparently...
Why do people not want to let me watch porn?
Yeah,
seriously.
Right?
Because they have websites for that.
Right. I mean, Twitch is I don't know if it is gaming. Yeah, Twitch is a gaming live streaming service to stream yourself while you play games. Now, some women got this great idea that they could play a game in their bra or some, nice lingerie with their jugs hanging out and just play a game and live stream it and actually make money. So kudos to you, women. You got your breasts and you're winning again. But now Twitch apparently has caught on to your scheme and have updated their terms of service to say no shirt, no shoes, no service. You will no longer be streaming on our website if you're not going to have, if you're going to look freaking trashy and wear no clothing and have sexually suggestive clothing. You can't do any of that anymore. No lingerie, no swimming suits, no pasties, no undergarments. It's all prohibited. Yep. So
that made it more interesting.
Well, I heard a theory from somebody. I don't know if it was within our group we were talking about. Somebody else told me this. Somebody told me that the ones the cam girls from the XXX websites, they saw Twitch when it became profitable, like really big. That it was an easy way to make the same or more amount of money without actually getting naked. So like I almost can't blame them. You know what I'm saying? You got that can't knock a hustle. But
Well,
yeah,
for sure. I mean, I don't. I mean, I'm jealous more than anything. I wish I had tits. I could quit my full-time job and just fucking stream myself playing a game which I suck at, but just as long as I have my tits out. You know, dude.
nah,
I mean,
keep the rest to yourself.
these chicks probably make. I mean, I don't even know how much money they make, but it's a lot of money, people. I mean, if you go to any one of these major Twitch streamers, you'll see that there's they actually have like a subscription type thing to where you can subscribe and pay like $5 a month to your favorite Twitch person. So every month that Twitch person is getting the $5 from you, and you add that to the revenue that they get from playing ads during their live stream. They're making I probably thousands of dollars a month, like no joke.
No. Some of them are making thousands of dollars a week.
Okay, yes, you're right.
Me and Tiki Rod sat there and watched this girl pick up like donations like crazy. It was in 30-minute period. It was several $100s. I was like, what?
Yeah, it is kind of. I mean, it's definitely
boys with their credit cards. And back in my day,
right.
Didn't have credit cards at 10.
Yeah, exactly.
You just had dollar bills at a strip club, didn't you?
How'd you know? Was you there? Yeah, I mean, if you want to screen share, I linked a Safe for Work website that has the top 10 Twitch streamers, female Twitch streamers. But one of them's name is
tit streamers.
Yeah, tit streamers. That's pretty much what they are.
Mia Rose, who was a full-fledged, bona fide adult movie star, we'll say. And so I was like, that piqued my interest. I went and checked out her Twitch channel, and sure enough, she talks about it, and like it's just very matter of fact. She doesn't even like really care, which I guess I wouldn't either.
All right, so I'm sharing. Yeah, I'm sharing the link that you provided. Top 10 best Twitch female streamers.
I don't know if I'd call it all work safe, because of the weird rules that they have at some workplaces.
Yeah, right.
Well,
there's no nudity.
The point is that he was saying I can show this on stream and probably not get in trouble. Oh, look at Tara Babcock. Holy shit. Those are some good jugs.
But now listen to this. Now you would think that she's just a ditzy blonde and like she's probably one of those ones who came to Twitch just for the money.
Yeah.
Turns out that she's actually a professional esports player and educated.
Okay. Wow. She's a professional model, entrepreneur, gamer, resident writer at Impulse Gamer.
Right.
Wow. Right. She gets 800,000 views, or she has 800,000 views and 11,000 followers.
Yep.
Wow. So where's this one that let's see.
Number 2.
Mia Rose. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, Mia Rose. She's a retired porn star. Gone gamer. Wow. She has her own quest line. She has her own quest line in World of Warcraft.
Right.
3.3 million fucking views.
Yep.
25,000 people felt the need to click follow.
Yes.
Wow.
Now you got to remember, like even all the ones that she probably has more viewers than she has followers. That means when she fires up the live stream,
of course,
she's probably getting like definitely over 1,000 views. I mean, watchers at that one moment. And then you know how many of them just like randomly click donate. $5 here,
right.
$10 here, $7. That shit is insane. I want to do that.
Oh my gosh, and then this chick that's number 1, she's got 7.7 million views total, and almost 32,000 followers.
Yeah, she's actually an MLG player.
Yep.
Hardcore MLG player. And a finance student from Boston.
Like, yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to make it sound like, these dumb ditzy blondes are just putting their tits on and not knowing how to play a game and they're making money. I mean, I maybe made it sound like that, but
No,
I guarantee there is probably more women that are like that than there are legit gaming women that are doing legit gaming. You know what I mean? That are actually good at whatever they're doing, gaming wise.
Yeah, but I almost agree with you. Like in general, so if somebody links me something on Twitch, and they're like it's a female gamer, I'm almost just expecting that it's a ditzy blonde.
Yeah, exactly.
And I usually don't want to watch that or click on it because I really just don't even support it because I just don't find them to be like-minded people. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. All right. Moving on to that covers that. So basically, Twitch says no more. Just because you got tits doesn't mean you can flash them and make money on our site. Basically, is what Twitch is saying.
Man,
I think Amazon probably played a big role in that.
I think so. As the silent partner.
Right. Yeah.
But as a side note, attached to this topic though, if you Google Twitch, like PS4 Twitch or Xbox One Twitch and stuff like that, the stuff that people do on their live streams is stupid. Stupid. Like you can't even. It's gonna blow your mind. Like if you have if you're at work or something, don't Google it. We'll just say that.
Right. What was I gonna say? Shoot. Oh, do you remember the other night at or Sunday morning when I was live streaming and Swoop linked us to some hot chick that was streaming in her bra on Hitbox? Or do you?
What?
What?
No, what'd you say? I didn't hear all of it.
I said, do you remember Sunday morning when I was live streaming? Swoop got into our chat, in the Twitch or Hitbox chat, and he linked us to this chick that was live streaming in her bra on Hitbox.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
You remember that?
I think you linked it.
Right, I did. Or it was in the chat, and Swoop let us know. Well, it turns out that the chick used to be a man.
Oh, those burns and feels.
Can you believe that? Like, I was just completely outraged when Swoop pointed that out to me. I was like, dude, you're fucking kidding me. You're lying, is what I said to him. I was like, there's no way. But sure enough, he linked me to the YouTube video that shows this chick convert from a male to female in 2.5 years. Her name is Alexandra. She's 18 years old, and she's on Twitch. She began her transformation when she was 16.
I wonder how many young men now found that out are traumatized.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I mean, I myself am kind of disgusted. Like, she went through the hormone therapy, but does that mean that she got her dick removed and put in a vagina? Like, I don't know. I mean,
I'd rather not know.
I'm just like, I was just shocked. I couldn't believe that. Oh my gosh. I was like, what the heck? What is life? I was confused. What is life?
I'll sum it up like this, at least from my point of view. The internet is no different than real life. Like everything that applies to the internet, exactly, almost one-to-one applies to real life. From the pirating to the pornography to the people selling their sex for sales, it's all exactly the same, except for now there's just a lot of it because you can actually do it and document it and duplicate it at a much higher rate.
Yeah, exactly.
Even the girls that used to be dudes are walking around looking for people with no mustaches.
Oh man, I couldn't believe that. All right. So we got our last topic here, and it's about Wine being updated to release version 1.7.30. And again, Osiris is the man, so we will let him talk about the topic. He found it.
Yeah, I mean, this is an incremental update. This isn't a super major update, but I think it's notable because they did some improvements to DirectWrite, the C runtime functions, regedit import export fixes, and so what that did was there's a list of games that I linked, and so it fixed quite a few games, and the notable ones. The more important ones would be World of Warcraft, since they just had a very an expansion pack released. I bet you that was high on their list of things to fix. No, actually, you know what? I'm looking at this again. I must have read it backwards. World of Warcraft went from platinum to gold. Interesting.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
It changed, -1. It went down a version. But some of the ones up high, like, some of them changed quite a bit, like you said. Like, one of them, let's see, StarCraft 2 Current went from bronze all the way up to platinum.
And
Or no, I'm
bronze is
sorry, it
damn
went
near-
from garbage to platinum.
Yeah, garbage means it doesn't work at all. Bronze is
Right,
damn near
yeah.
unplayable.
Okay.
And platinum means you can
Here,
pretty
I'll
much
share.
install it and not do nothing.
Yeah. I'll share this my screen here. So here's the list that you can see which games got improved support and what they're. It's weird the version they list though, that about the change, because I thought you said this was Wine version 1.7.30, whereas this Wine database I'm seeing that the new status version is only like 1.7.28 or 0.29.
Yeah, this article is the latest World Wine news, and it's probably just not updated with the very latest wine
Okay.
versioning. But several applications were also thrown in there. I see Lightroom, Adobe's Lightroom, went from garbage to gold.
Okay, yeah, that's big news.
Funny enough, I don't know why you'd ever use this, but CCleaner, which used to be called Crap Cleaner, which basically cleans your Windows system, it went from garbage to gold. But I don't even know how that would work. Like, what are you cleaning your wine bottles or something?
Yeah, you must be cleaning your C drive, in your right, I guess.
But a game that I was trying to play with Swoop, War Thunder, it got moved from garbage to silver.
Oh yeah,
So-
that Swoop was telling me to get that game. War Thunder? Oh yeah, garbage to silver. +2. It increased by 2. Wow,
Yeah,
some games went from gold to garbage, like Moto Racer.
But see, the thing about that is that you don't have to, if you're using your wine bottles or whatnot properly, you don't have to upgrade. Usually, I'll stick to one version of wine that works for.
Well, right, of course. Whatever version they list, like if Moto Racer works at gold in version 1.7.14, then that's what you should run. You should run the game in that wine version. What's the tool again that can basically create wine bottles and really manage them really well again? What's that?
Play on Linux.
Yes. And
Okay.
there's also and for you Mac people, there's a Play on Mac too. You know what's funny? So Mountain Blade was ported to Linux. I actually have that, and it actually plays pretty good. But when that happened, it looks like it went from bronze to platinum. So I don't know.
Which game?
Mountain Blade Warband.
Okay.
Fallout 3 is popular, and it went from gold to platinum. EVE Online, a lot of people play that. I don't think that's really these games are.
Spotify. Is there a Linux client for Spotify or no?
Yes, but even Spotify says that you can. They even recommend that you can use Spotify through Wine.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing here. It went from silver to gold with version 1.7.28.
I just thought it was funny that Spotify themselves tell Linux users to use Wine.
Instead of their native client. Yeah, that is weird.
Well, because their reasoning is because the native client's still, I guess, like early beta or something. But
Right.
I've used it for months, and it mostly works. It's got a weird thing about resizing sometimes, but other than that, it works. And it's built on, Spotify is built on the Google API or Google framework. Actually, that's what it's called.
I'm surprised that games that have Linux native clients are even mentioned here.
Yeah, it is weird. Like I guess people, I don't know.
Super Hexagon has native Linux client, and it works perfectly fine.
You got me on that one. I don't know. Like KeePass. There's a KeePass version of Linux, right? Am I?
KeePass X.
Right. So, who'd care? I don't know. I don't know where to get these. So all this means right here, because this is the database. All this really means is that somebody tried it and they got a result. So somebody is bored enough to try these games and got a result.
Or that software within Wine, right? Yeah. All right. Well, that's good news to all those Linux gamers out there that want to play a game in Linux, but it doesn't run natively in Linux, so you got to use Wine. So there's some improvements. Hopefully that should help everybody out.
Vin says Winetricks can do the wine bottle thing, but Arch users might need a GUI for playing Linux. Ooh, those major burns.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, what haven't we covered so far?
I think we covered everything.
Oh, snaps. Yep, and we're 18 minutes over too.
No, not real. I mean, I think we've settled on around an hour and 15 minutes for the show, I thought.
Okay, yeah.
So we're okay. I mean, so that pretty much wraps up this week's show, episode 11. This week's show went a lot better than last week. Holy cow! It's like night and day difference. We didn't have any technical issues this week, and we also had a full cast. So I appreciate everybody coming to the show. Just like I said last week, we're still, even though this is episode 11, we're still learning. Still trying to get this whole podcast thing down. It's it's a fun experience for us. We enjoy doing it. So we're going to keep coming back every week and sharing some native Linux tech and gaming information with you all. And we do appreciate everybody coming. If you're interested in communicating with me, you can check the description down below of the YouTube video for my Twitter handle. Obviously, you already know my YouTube channel since you're here watching the show. But so that's about it for me. Go ahead, Osiris.
All right. So yeah, you can find me on Twitter. It's the best way to find me, and probably the only way, because I usually don't check nothing else anymore. But Twitter is @Osiris, as you see spelled, and it's probably the links are down there somewhere. Check out my channel, Osiris Tech, which is basically fixes, tutorials, rantings, ravings, and gameplays. And what else is there? There's nothing else. That's all that matters.
You can find me on YouTube and on Twitter @TheAtomicAss. You'll probably find links to both down in the description.
Yep, they're down there in the description. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's show. And again, thank you for coming to all of the 3 people that are still watching. Appreciate you guys sticking around to the end. And that's it. So we will see you next week, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Oh, don't forget about our Steam group. We have a Steam group, and it's Linux Tag. That is down below in the description as well, a link to our Steam group. If you want to join it to keep up with what games we're playing and whatnot. And that's it. So we'll talk to you guys later. Ven, we'll catch up with you right when we're done with the show here. Thank you. And everybody have a good night. See you next week, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central.